What's your good name right now as a sannyasi?
Sevananda Saraswati. From the United States, from New York City. I was raised a Catholic.
Christian. You was Catholic Christian, but now you are Hindu sadhu.
Asato maha sadagamaya tamaso maha jyotirgamaya mrityur maha amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. आप कैसे हैं? बहुत बढ़िया, धन्यवाद, दिल से शुक्रिया। मैं परम आनंद में हूँ।
So how much now your life has been changed after become sannyasi Sevanand Saraswati?
It's finally, after 60 years of confusion, 60 years of chaos that I created myself, I have found peace and I have found purpose. Here in India, and as a sannyasi, I'm aligned. I feel as though there's a direct line from God through me. When I was in the United States, I looked for everything external to fix me. Everything, drugs, alcohol, relationships, money, possessions, things, all of those things I tried to get because I thought it would fix this. And none of it worked. And that's why I left the United States, because nothing worked anymore. The only thing that works now is this. You know, the generosity of the Indian people is just so incredible. The beauty and the love of the Indian people. They are so welcoming to everyone. I've never felt more welcomed and more loved than I have in this country. It's perfection. Uttam, Aarti Uttam ji.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है गौतम और इस वक्त मैं मौजूद हूँ ऋषिकेश में। मैं लगातार आपको विभिन्न प्रकार के साधु, संत, महात्मा, तपस्वी, साधकों के साथ संवाद श्रृंखलाएं दिखाता हूं। आज उसी श्रृंखला में हमारे साथ एक ऐसे साधु हैं जो विदेशी साधु हैं। आपने देशी साधु बहुत देखे होंगे, आपने नागा साधु बहुत देखे होंगे, आपने भारत के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों के, विभिन्न मतों के, विभिन्न संप्रदायों के बहुत सारे साधु देखे होंगे। लेकिन आज हमारे साथ एक विदेशी साधु हैं। वो कौन से देश से हैं और उनका क्या नाम है, वो सब हम जानेंगे। बहुत बहुत स्वागत है स्वामी जी आपका।
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद। Let's start with a prayer, shall we?
या
Okay. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all live in peace, may all be unharmed, may all be well, may all be one. It's praying for the health of humanity, basically, and reminding us that we are all one. And that we are all divine and all perfect just as we are. So
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया। सब लोग खुश रहें और सब निरोगी रहें, ये प्रार्थना मानवता के लिए और वही स्वामी जी ने करी। तो स्वामी जी, इससे पहले कि और कोई सवाल पूछें, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज फ्रॉम विच कंट्री यू आर?
From the United States, from New York City.
From New York City. So what's your good name right now as a sannyasi?
Sevananda Saraswati.
Sevanand Saraswati. And what was your name before sannyas?
I forget.
Really?
Yeah, well, I choose to. It's a part of the past. It was Bob.
So what attracted you towards the Indian culture? क्या लगा आपको कि भारतीय संस्कृति में आप आकर्षित हो गए?
India was a beautiful and unexpected gift. I was planning, when I left the United States, I was planning on going to South Africa to teach English as a second language. And all of a sudden, I got a calling to come to Rishikesh. So I came here to take an Ayurveda course in the hills behind the ashram. And every day when I left the class, I would come through Parmarth. And it was here that I got the calling, as it were. Not so much for sannyas, but to come to India, to stay in India, to make India my home.
When you took sannyas
3 years ago this month, 2019. Ji.
and first time when you came to India?
Yeah. Oh, in November of 2018.
तो 2018 में आए और 2019 में ही सन्यासी बन गए इतनी जल्दी कैसे?
Ji.
How?
Well, it was all God's grace. I mean, every bit of it, from coming from the United States to India to sannyas, was all God's grace. I had gone into my Guruji, Puja Swami Ji's Jopri one day because I felt I wanted to be closer to God. I felt I wanted the connection to be even deeper than it was. I felt unless I could actually be with God, be in God, have God in me, that I could not get close enough. I just felt like that was the next step. And I thought that the Guru mantra, right, was the next step. So that's what I asked for. But by God's divine grace and Puja Swami Ji's blessing, he granted me sannyas.
when you was in America, in what profession you was there?
Oh, I did a lot of things. The last was as a property manager. Before that, I edited and published magazines. I was a wig maker in Los Angeles.
Wig maker?
A wig maker.
Wig.
Hanji. I worked for the city of Los Angeles. I worked for an airline for many years. I did all sorts of things.
एयरलाइन में भी काम किया, प्रॉपर्टी मैनेजर भी रहे, विग मेकर भी रहे, मैगजीन भी छापते रहे और मैगजीन एडिट भी करते रहे। इतने सारे काम करने के बाद अब भारत में सन्यासी बन गए। सो व्हेन यू वाज इन अमेरिका यू वाज मैरिड और नॉट?
No.
नॉट मैरिड। सो व्हाट्स योर एज राइट नाउ?
62.
62.
जी.
So how much now your life has been changed after become sannyasi Sevanand Saraswati?
The word is immeasurably. There is no way to say. And I don't mean to be evasive. It's just, it's finally, after 60 years of confusion, 60 years of chaos that I created myself, I have found peace and I have found purpose. The only thing that works now is this. This works. It's peaceful. There's no more chaos. There's no more drama. It's just a beautiful life of service to God, to Guru, and to all of our divine creation, to all of our brothers and sisters. And that's the most beautiful thing that any of us can do, is to serve. And all of that comes by God's grace. With God's grace, we can achieve all of those things. By not having God's grace, by turning our backs on God, we have nothing. And there is nothing because God is everything. So.
तो स्वामी जी का कहना है कि लगभग 60 साल से बिना पते की चिट्ठी की तरह ये इधर उधर भाग रहे थे, भटक रहे थे जब यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में थे। लेकिन इन पिछले 2-3 वर्षों में जब इन्होंने अपना आध्यात्मिक जीवन जीना प्रारंभ किया तो इनको एक जीवन जीने का मतलब पता चला कि मैं जीवन क्यों जी रहा हूँ और असली जो शांति, असली जो सुख है वो अब इनको अपने जीवन में नज़र आता है। स्वामी जी, वुड यू लाइक टू गिव सम मैसेज इन हिंदी?
I know so very little. I guess the most important message, Bhagavan ki kripa, right? That is what changes our lives. That's what sustains us. That's the most important thing. That's the most important message. You know, the generosity of the Indian people is just so incredible. The beauty and the love of the Indian people is so incredible. They are so welcoming to everyone. I've never felt more welcomed and more loved than I have in this country. I've never felt more at peace than I do in this country. It's just, it's perfection. Uttam, Ati Uttam, ji.
Ati Uttam.
Ati Uttam, ji.
So maybe you have learned some common Hindi words which you recall daily.
Yeah, I mean it's usually always "Aap kaise hain," you know, "Main param anand mein hoon," "Bahut badiya, dhanyavad," "Dil se shukriya." You know, that's about the extent. I'm getting a little bit bigger, but it's sort of the chapter 1 of Hindi tutorial on YouTube, you know, how to say hi to people and how to greet people. That's about as far as we've gotten. You're testing me.
No, no, no.
Does this not make me a true Indian? Does it mean
No, I'm just generally I'm asking that. Can you please recite any mantra or a shloka of any scriptures of?
Asato maha sadagamaya tamaso maha jyotirgamaya mrityur maha amritam gamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om.
अस्तोमा सद्गमया तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्योर्मा अमृतम गमया। मतलब असत्य से सत्य की ओर हम जाएं, मृत्यु से अमृत की ओर जाएं, अंधकार से प्रकाश की ओर जाएं। ये प्रार्थना है जो हम भगवान से प्रतिदिन करते हैं, लेकिन अब ये प्रार्थनाएं विलुप्त सी हो रही हैं, विलुप्त प्राय हो रही हैं। भारतीय संस्कृति की मूल प्रार्थना है, लेकिन समस्या है कि अब इसको अंग्रेज़ लोग तो बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन भारतीय लोग इसको वरीयता नहीं दे रहे, इसको महत्व नहीं दे रहे। स्वामी,
Oh, to speak as beautifully as you do. That is my ultimate goal. Beautiful, beautiful.
So Swamiji, today youngsters of India, they are going towards the West. They are imitating West. So what would you like to give message to those youngsters, those who are they are not giving value to their own culture, but they are going towards the West for money, for big house, for luxurious life. So what would you like to say?
Well, I think the most important thing is that what people see of the West in movies and TV shows and things like that is an illusion. There's poverty in the West. There's suffering in the West. There are things that aren't right in the West, right? So when you look to that place, they always say there's an expression in the West, the other man's grass is always greener on the other side, right? And that's the way it is with looking at the West from India. But it's not. And the most important thing to guarantee our future is to honor, respect, and nurture our culture. So if you're lucky enough to be born in India, if you're lucky enough to be Hindu, right? Nurture that culture, nurture that tradition, because it's everything. It's absolutely everything. And it's part of what's lacking in the West. That good, strong tradition, that good, strong foundation of culture and spirituality. That's kind of missing in the West. And so I would say find a place in your homeland. Find a place in India that you can flourish, that you can be everything that you want to be. Nurture India. India needs you. India needs you to stay. India needs you to work for it and to help it to thrive, right? The West, take care of itself. But stay here. Stay here with your family. Stay here with Bharat. जी?
भारत में रहिए, स्वामी जी ऐसा कह रहे हैं। जो पिक्चरों में नज़र आ रहा है वेस्ट, वैसा वेस्ट बिल्कुल नहीं है। सो स्वामी जी, करंटली यू आर हिंदू साधु, बट मे बी व्हेन यू वाज इन अमेरिका यू बिलोंग्स टू सम डिफरेंट culture or some different?
I was raised a Catholic.
Catholic, Christian. You was Catholic Christian, but now you are Hindu sadhu. So what are the best things of Indian culture you like most?
I like the inclusiveness of the culture, right? One of the things, because Vasudev Kutumbakam, right? We are one family. We are all one. That's a beautiful tradition. That's a beautiful, beautiful tradition. And because of that, it shows that we have no separation. There is no separation between us. We are all one. And in the West, there's a tendency to find things to separate us, either because of culture, because of race, because of creed, because of whatever. And that isn't as present here to me. Hindus believe that all faiths, any path to God is good. Any path to God is acceptable, quote unquote. In the West, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be this, you have to be this. Here, it's no. As long as you're connecting to God, as long as you're trying to keep that pathway open to God, however you get there is fine. There are 1,000 paths up the mountaintop, right? Each one of them gets you to the top. Some of them may be pretty, some of them may be windy, some of them may be a straight line, but it still gets you to the divine. So telling you that your path is wrong, that's just not appropriate. And in the East, in India, there's a tradition of whatever path leads to God is the right path for you. That's a beautiful tradition.
So at last, what shlok or what mantra you will?
I've said every last one that I know. Just love and peace, and come home and visit us as well. You're always welcome at Parmarth.
तो स्वामी सेवानंद सरस्वती जी आपको कैसे लगे, उनकी बातें आपको कैसी लगी, उनके विचार भारतीय संस्कृति को लेकर के आपको कैसे लगे, उनका ये संन्यास जीवन आपको कैसा लगा, आप हमें ज़रूर कमेंट बॉक्स में बताएंगे। आज ऋषिकेश से इतना ही, फिर मिलेंगे किसी नए साधु, किसी नए सन्यासी के साथ। तब तक के लिए धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।
Beautiful.
ठीक है,
ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा। Is it okay?
या इज इट ओके? इट्स ओके,
Sure.
श्योर,
ठीक है,
बढ़िया,
बहुत बढ़िया,
बहुत बढ़िया,
बहुत बढ़िया। उत्तम। Say something in Hindi.
बहुत उत्तम।
Okay. Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you.
धन्यवाद, समय देने के लिए शुक्रिया।
दिल से शुक्रिया जी।